Hello there. Time for surprise Sunday stream. That is what we are doing. Yeah. Now, where to go? What haven't we killed? We have to do Nightmare Frontier. Let's see, we've got Nightmare Frontier. We've got Castle Canehurst. Gotta be... Are we really getting that close to the end of the base game already? I forget how strong you gotta be for Canehurst. Or the Frontier, for that matter. Let's just go to the lecture building for now. Let's just go to college. Yeah, so surprise Sunday stream, I guess.
What a joy it is to behold the divine. It must be such a pleasure. You're in my debt, you know. You're nigh on a beast of the field. But here you are, treading a measure with the gods. Are your feet as fat as your wits? Oh, cease this dithering. Take the plunge. Throw yourself to the wolves.
Thank you, Patches. Very cool. I don't remember much about this area. I do know that some of the chemicals in vials explode violently. Hello. Definitely not too weak for these fellas. Red jelly. Sounds tasty. Yes. Red jelly. Ooh. I'm getting some crusty frames here. This dude's just been chilling in his seat the whole time. This is basically college. I'm a conservative speaker on a college campus. I'm being attacked. I'm being repressed for my alternative views. So much for the yeah, so much for the tolerant left. Also, as we all know, liberals are shape-shifting slug monsters. Obviously, everybody knows this. Jeff Bezos is a slug monster. You just haven't people just haven't woken up to the truth yet. Everyone I disagree with is a slug monster. This is the only truth I know. Oh my god, that'd be an amazing Alex Jones autobiography name. Well, actually, no, it'd be Everybody I Disagree With is a Reptilian Alien. But I mean, you know, whatever floats your boat. Yeah, exactly, whatever floats your boat. They hate God and babies, and they like to eat babies and sell children out of pizza shops. I did not want to do a jumping attack. But okay, we'll go with that, Bloodborne. Listen here, sheep, you just gotta wake up to the truth, okay? The truth is out there. You're just too much of a sheep to acknowledge it just yet. Yeah, okay, like, yeah, let's just set the jokes aside for a second. Let's just set the comedic rhetoric aside. It is quite fascinating to see how much of a lot of this ideology relies on generating some kind of enemy. And it's not just conservatives either. Any radicalized political group does it. Oh, it's two of them. Excellent. Okay, and he's allowed to have poise, but I'm not. Excellent. What the hell's wrong with this game? Why are the hunter fights always so universally shit? Like every hunter fight is universally god awful in this game. It's never fair or fun. That's the problem with you liberals. So much for the tolerant left. We're out here debating in the streets and you're out here whipping me with bike locks. That was a bike lock he was hitting me with, by the way. In my imagination. Also, Christmas is under attack. You know, and again, this isn't even a conservative thing. It's, you've told me stories, you disaster. You've told me stories about the whole thing with, you got this one friend, and he always thinks that any second now all all conservatives are gonna rise up and destroy all liberals on Earth, and it's comedic. Life, especially in America and Germany and other polarized countries, has become such unintentional black comedy.
I was very well met.
It's
Farewell, Mick.
it would be funny if it weren't so tragic already. Maybe it's both. I don't know. We can laugh and also be sad about it. Yeah, that's another thing, too. Like, if anything, the media does a bad job reporting on things like the police. The right is convinced that the left is convinced that the media and the state have become aggressively conservative, and yet the right is convinced that the media and the state are becoming aggressively liberal. And it's like, which is it? Yeah, and this is the thing, is like, your friend's going out and looking for only the cases where a cop has done a bad thing. And it's like, most police are apolitical for a reason. It's because regardless of their politics, they're out there to do their job. And so it's just hysterically bad. It is hysterics. It's just bad practice because, yeah, the state defines the status quo, so it's innately going to be conservatively leaning. However, you know, most police by definition are, you know, you get dirty cops, you get bad cops, but it's like, that's a very, very minor case in a large selection of people who are just working and doing their jobs. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say whether there is or isn't a police problem in the United States. That's not for me to say. But you do have to look at this, and you have to, you know, you have to really ask yourself, the police, are the police acting in my interests? And more often than not, at least, they are. Here in the United States, it's not like they're going out and bludgeoning everybody daily. This isn't China. You know, we're not a media blackout state. The police are voluntary because people who select those jobs generally want to make life better for people. And so I couldn't for the life of me believe that the police would ever aid in a militant uprising of any kind. It's not going to happen. Your friend's delusional. Your friend's paranoid and delusional. It's not going to happen. Yeah, you got a good way of putting it. I'm going to read it for those who can't see what you wrote. People blame the police for a lot of inherent problems with the state, and the debate very quickly degenerates into two groups selecting statistical outliers to prove that those examples represent a majority. And I mean, really, let me break this down to the simplest terms of what the police are. The police are people who have trained and have been given power and the tools to wield that power. Whether for good or for ill is defined by their actions, and those are the actions of individual people. You cannot define the group by the actions of certain particular individuals, because that's not how it works. Yes, you get some bad eggs, but it's, again, this is a That's an inherently reactionary move from people who are already innately afraid of police and are looking for a confirmation bias to believe that the police are against them. It is simply what it is. It's reactionary. It's out of fear for a problem that exists only to you. And in order to prove that, you look for other examples where the police have done wrong to confirm your to confirm your bias, confirmation bias. Yeah. And the problem that I'm recognizing now, Jesus, this is getting really political for a Sunday stream. I want to cool it, but at the same time, this is kind of an interesting topic to talk about. So the problem is that when you analyze a problem like this, it's become this really, really unfortunate feedback loop of the police are afraid. The police are afraid of being attacked by civilians at this point, a lot of police, because of the status of distrust towards police, which causes the police to distrust people. And there's become this growing divide because of this feedback loop between the police and the people, whereas there's a growing distrust between the two of them. And it's... I mean, it is what it is. It's a problem. And yeah, I agree. I do agree with you to the point that departments aren't doing enough to take out their dirty laundry. Yeah, and I agree with you on that account. The police, the departments aren't doing enough to deal with their dirty laundry. They sweep it under the rug because acknowledging that they have had bad actors, I don't know, I guess they have something to prove with all that. It's a hard thing to identify. Like, I don't understand what's so hard about demonstrating that they close ranks, and I don't get that, because it shouldn't be a them versus us issue, especially with the police. Because with the police, it shouldn't be a them versus us issue. It should be a we're out to protect them, and if one of our own is endangering the people, it's our responsibility to to determine this and to dispose of the problem. I'm going backwards. I'm getting a little distracted by the conversation. Yeah, exactly. The police aren't the police aren't a military. They're not occupying some installation or holding down some fortress or some contested region. They're just making sure people are staying safe, and to develop an alternative mentality as a cop is dangerous, not only to yourself but to other people. If you've got dirty laundry as an officer of the law, your job is to take it out, because your first and foremost responsibility isn't to the other police in your department, it's to the people. Should you look out for your fellow officer? Of course, absolutely. They're your friends and your family. But they also have, for their career, for their job, they have a moral and ethical responsibility to the people first and foremost. All people. Anybody under their jurisdiction, regardless of whatever differences there may be between you and them. I gotta figure out, that's where the patches encounter is, so I gotta go up and over. I'll get this figured out. Oh, okay, I gotta get this tipped over. So maybe I gotta get over there first. Yeah. I mean, really what it comes down to in simplest terms is it's a matter of both what the heck? Okay. So it's not that way to get up there. It's a matter of a lack of context for these incidents that people like to cite, which is part of what's causing this problem. It's a lack of context, and it's a lack of guidance, of understanding of what the job is. The police right now in a lot of places need some level of guidance. As silly as that sounds to say that the police need directions, they do need to be reminded of what they're supposed to be doing. And as you said earlier, it's the state and the police's responsibility to amend the problems that they're seeing right now. The people shouldn't be responsible for amending this issue. This is the worst area in the game, by the way. I hate this place so much. Poisoning is such a problem in this game, too, because poisoning hurts you so much. And since you have limited amounts of healing items as well. No! No! You bitch! Alright, I'm dead. That's 14,000 blood echoes I'll never see again. I just want to get the patches encounter. Is that where it just was? I don't know. I totally forget how you get the patches encounter in this area. How did I not see this last time? Was I just too distracted or something? Probably is the answer. I was probably too distracted. This way to witness a miracle. Classic patches. I hope I'm going the way that doesn't have the winter lantern. Okay. I'm good. I'm good. Seriously, the Soulsborne series is supposed to encourage exploration, but how am I going to want to explore when this area is just nothing but ass? That's what that's what I always hated about the poison areas, especially the poison swamp areas or whatever is. How is anybody gonna want to explore an area when it's actively discouraging them from going off the path? I don't understand that design philosophy. If you want to encourage people to explore, then actually encourage them to explore and find secrets. Don't set up a huge roadblock and making a giant swampy poison area for them. That's just that doesn't work. Yeah, does Miyazaki just like to make a toxic swamp to trudge through every time, regardless of just how ass or unfun it is? That's fast poisoning. I don't want that. No! I don't want that. Especially in this game, poisoning kills you really fast in this one. That's something I just never understood about Miyazaki's design philosophy, is sometimes he just likes to insert things that are intentionally unfun. And I don't get why he does that. Like, yes, make the game challenging, but make the game challenging, but you don't want to make something that's really tedious and obnoxious to shoulder through. You don't want the game to become burdensome for the player. These things drop anything? No. Well, that'll be helpful. What's over this way? Oh, that's where I died last time, I think. Well, that's great. Now I know where not to go. No matter which way you go, you gotta get through a winter lantern, I guess. Enemies that instant kill you. Neat. Alright. We can finally get down to the real fight. The secret to that move when he jumps is to hold still. He'll land right on top of you. If you move, he'll kill you. If you just hold still, he lands right on top of you, and the middle of his body is so thin and hollow that it doesn't hurt you. Anyways, finally done with this fucking shitty ass area. Got a couple of free bloodstone chunks out of it at least. If there was a third one, I'd get a free upgrade, but I'm not interested enough in bothering with this place to get it. The Nightmare Frontier is just a bother. That's all it is. Well, I can use insight to buy this shit.
Welcome home, good hunt. What is it? Very old man. Farewell.
Fuck it. Let's do Canehurst. I don't know, man. It's all brain shit. It's all funky, weird brain shit. I mean, for a Lovecraftian story, that is the real terror. Contextualizing your memories, dreams, stuff like that. In this game, becoming like a beast is almost seen as a positive. Because it makes you... I mean, in the context of this game, like, you know, obviously, in the context of any Lovecraftian, the less you know, the better. So I'd say the hypothalamus is the hero of this one. I love how, you know, we're in a story that's about, like, you know, it's a Lovecraftian story about forbidden knowledge and, you know, mad science and all that weird 1800s story, and then out of nowhere we get a dose of fucking dark magic. Onimusha? I'll check it out. I've vaguely heard of it, but I'm not sure what kind of game it is. Oh shit, that sounds awesome. Resident Evil is Samurai. Sign me the fuck up. Oh, it's from Capcom. So, yeah, I'd buy that. I'd get that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm down with like 95% of whatever Capcom puts out. I love most of their games. Like, their games just feel good, they look good. Like, their character designs in most of their games are impeccable, because they make their characters, even if they're going for a realistic approach, like with DMC5 or Resident Evil 2 Remake, even though they go for a realistic look, they make their characters' faces so defined, like bordering on cartoonish, but realistic enough that you can believe it's real, but you know what I'm saying. It borders on realistic and cartoony because it's just cartoony enough to be very identifiable, but you know, but realistic enough that you're like, yeah, that looks like a real person. That's what I love about the Resident Evil characters, especially. Chris, with the exception of Chris in Resident Evil 7, Chris is so identifiably Chris, and, you know, Leon is so easily identifiable as Leon. You have, and all these characters are so easily recognizable as who they are. Barry Burton. Yeah, they make these realistic looking characters they make them not just believable but memorable and unique in their appearance. Leon, you look at him and you're like, that's Leon Kennedy. And that's not always easy to do, because sometimes it's so easy to just make a bland, generic, boring looking character, and or even try to make a recognizable looking character, but they look so real that it's just forgettable because you see so many real people in your daily life. It's a very strange balancing act that they manage with these character designs, and it's really impressive. I would say Resident Evil 7, definitely. A lot of them are very memorable. I'd say they missed the mark with Chris a little bit, and I know part of that's because Chris in Resident Evil 5 was a bit too... Resident Evil 5 and 6, he was a bit too meaty, so they had to kind of dial that back a bit. Yeah, also he's not a hero, of course. Only heroes would be able to retain their character design throughout the series. If he was a hero, his character design would have been the same throughout all the games. A problem that Capcom does have, though, that they've been getting better with, but they still have a problem with, is retaining the actors that make their characters... retaining the actors that make their characters' voices and dialogue as equally memorable as their designs. That's a problem Capcom has. They dispose of voice actors too much. Like, for Resident Evil 5 and 6, Chris, people remember and like Roger Craig Smith. People recognize him. And then they got rid of him in Resident Evil 7. And they got a guy that sounded kind of like Roger Craig Smith, but not a lot. yeah, I mean, they did it with Paul Mercier for Leon and Resident Evil 4. They do it so often. I don't get why they do it. Like, that is my question, though, is like, do these actors just get too rich for their blood or something? Do they just get tired of paying them their rates? They did it with Frank West too, with T.J. Rotallo. They fobbed off T.J. Rotallo for some other chungus. I'll read this one out loud. Are they, like the rest of the gaming industry, bent on training audiences to not care about voice continuity to undermine the money that they can command? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they did it with T.J. Rotallo for Frank West and Dead Rising as well. They did it with D.C. Douglas for Wesker as well. It's I feel like it is to train their audience not to care, but that's an impossible task because people are always going to care, especially if the voice actors do such a good job. People liked Paul Mercier for Leon in Resident Evil 4. People loved D.C. Douglas as Wesker. People love Roger Craig Smith as Chris. People remember these performances because they're so good. And so it's an impossible ask to make people forget because by design those acting jobs are unforgettable. You can't ask people to not care about voice actors reprising their roles as characters they enjoy. Oh, that's disgusting. These things have anuses. Somebody actually took the time to model an anus on these things. That's disgusting. But yeah, it's... I think... I mean, that's the thing, is I wouldn't... That is the bottom line, is I wouldn't not buy a Resident Evil game just because Roger Craig Smith isn't Chris. And yeah, you're right. I mean, to an extent, because a lot of people didn't buy Metal Gear Solid 5 because of a lack of David Hayter. Maybe not a substantial amount, enough to hurt the game's bottom line, but a not too insignificant amount didn't buy the game because Kojima fobbed off David Hayter. So, make of that what you will. If someone becomes if a voice actor becomes such a flagship to that series, if someone becomes such a flagship to the series, that their acting is inseparably tied. If someone's acting is so inseparably tied to the character who is the central focus of the game, that material affects how people appreciate it. People didn't appreciate Sutherland. Like, Sutherland was fine in the game, whatever, but people didn't materially appreciate him the same way they did David Hayter, because David Hayter's so intrinsically tied to the concept of Metal Gear because he is Snake. He embraced the identity of Snake. Snake is him. So, to a certain degree, yes, and so to a certain degree, know of somebody not acting a character isn't going to completely undermine somebody's experience with the game. I'm not going to not play a Resident Evil game just because DC Douglas or Roger Craig Smith or Paul Mercier isn't in it. That's not going to happen with me. But I do notice and I do care. And Capcom, the thing that surprises me about it is why they don't retain their voice actors. Is Capcom seems like a bunch that are actually still like one of the rare few in the AAA industry that are actually committed to delivering quality experiences rather than just making dollars hand over fist. They still make efforts to make quality games that people like, and that's what surprises me. Is in the long run, how much money are you really trying to save by not reprising your voice actors? How much money are you really saving that's worth not delivering the finest product possible? Because to deliver the finest product possible would in part be to have the characters be as people like them. Yeah, I don't know what the cost calculation is either, but I can't imagine that the cost of... But I can't imagine that the cost of removing an actor as a character is enough to really warrant constantly firing and rehiring different actors for the same roles. That's just my take. I just feel like if they really wanted to go 100% on their commitment to making quality shit, they would allow their actors to reprise their roles. But I don't know shit. I don't know how this industry works, and I don't know what actors charge for their rates. I don't. It's just, it's an unfortunate situation. That's just how I feel about it. I feel like it's just an unfortunate situation that actors at Capcom are routinely fired and rehired on a dime, and there's no real security for that kind of role. Although it seems like they've been getting more interested in retaining a really high quality level of voice acting, because in Monster Hunter World, which came out just last year and some change, like a year and a half ago, they had what's his name? He's done some good acting. I'm trying to remember his name though. Richard Epcar. They had Richard Epcar, and he does some quality work. He was, you'll recognize him. He was Bateau in the dub of Standalone Complex. I think he was Bateau in pretty much every Ghost in the Shell thing, like even the original film. So he's pretty rich for Capcom's blood, and they bought him anyways they bought him anyways despite his high profile as a voice actor. They bought him for a pretty minor role in Monster Hunter World. So it just makes me wonder, maybe they're coming around, seeing the value of retaining voice talent, or maybe not retaining voice talent, but at least getting some high profile voice talent and not just getting rid of them once they become popular or famous. Who knows? Time will tell. Hopefully they encourage role retainment for their characters. Time will tell. But I'm hoping it is. Is he really? John St. John's another guy who's totally embraced the identity of his character, just like David Hayter embraced Snake. John St. John loves being Duke. And I mean, who wouldn't really? It's kind of a I'd imagine it'd be kind of a fun thing to be married to your character like that. Obviously, you'd want to be known for other roles. You'd want to get other roles. It'd be annoying just to play the same character forever. but it would be fun to just be tied to that role, to be recognized as the guy to play that role. David Hayter is Snake. John St. John is Duke. Being married to that character identity is fun. David Hayter certainly seems to think so. That's amazing. Does he really? He makes prank calls on visitors' phones in the Duke. That's fucking amazing. All right. Thanks for that. Ooh, Bloodstone chunk. Hell yeah, gamer. But yeah, that marriage to your character's identity is I mean, what more can I really say about it? People enjoy that, both the actor and the people the people who consume that individual's media, that entertainment. They enjoy that. I feel like that happened with every Metal Gear Solid character, because pretty much all the main cast of Metal Gear Solid became married to their character's identity in some way. Paul Eating, enjoyed his role as the Colonel. Cam Clark loved being Liquid despite him only making it in one game. Christopher Randolph is Otacon. Not only was he Hal, but he was also Huey. See, no, I want to see more Christopher Randolph and stuff. I mean, also, for a game like that, where 90% of the game's interactions is through flavor text and dialogue, and long dialogue, either through very, very long monologues or through optional codec calls, you kind of have to become really attached to your character to voice them for that long and not get tired of it. You want to have to, you're gonna have to want to be those characters, you know what I mean? Yeah, and a lot of the character's growth is due to the voice actor, because the actor needs to understand and really get in the role of their character if they want to do that much dialogue, those long monologues, and these big story segments, and these little codec calls, and everything that they do for these games. Metal Gear is like 80% voice acting and 20% gameplay, really, or the voice acting is married to the gameplay somehow. It's Metal Gear Solid. You could honestly turn the game off and just have the sound on only, and you could basically make it into a radio drama. Metal Gear Solid is just a radio drama. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid kind of just sometimes feels like a lightning in a bottle situation. You think about the one character who did consistently change voice actors, which was Ocelot. And he was basically 3 different characters during his tenure as 3 different voice actors. Like you had basically 3 different Ocelots in one game series. Although Metal Gear Solid 3's Ocelot is similar to Metal Gear Solid 1's Ocelot, but there's still that very real inherent difference between the two of them just by the virtue of how their actors portrayed the character. I think that is really what makes Kojima such a good director, is that he's a good rally. He's a very good moral backbone to his projects, not just as a director, but as a supporter, because he is an advocate usually for his actors. He just enjoys encouraging people to do creative work. Now, of course, again, there's the famous case of him insanely deciding to not let David Hayter reprise his role just because he wanted to get Kiefer Sutherland to do some Hollywood quote-unquote shit. But that, I feel like that's more of an exception than a rule, because Kojima just wanted to flex his Hollywood boner. But generally speaking, he likes to encourage and rally his actors as creatives, or just the people working under him in general as creatives.
could. Very well. Farewell, good hunter.
Fucking feminists. So, funny that you mentioned it though, because the person whose dad I modeled this character after is a huge douchebag contrarian. So, one time he just straight up told her, like, to her face, like, stop being such a, what was it? He was like, oh yeah, if feminist work is so important, then why do they only just say platitudes? Take affirmative action. But in like the same discussion later down the line, he said, I wish the media would stop portraying women as strong because women aren't as strong as men. So basically he's saying, women, stop saying random meaningless platitudes and actually take affirmative action, but not in a strong way. Do it in a weak way. Take affirmative action in a weak way, please. Okay? Genius 5 billion IQ contrarians. When you say both sides are stupid but don't explain your reasoning at all. But yeah, sometimes you just get lay douchebag contrarian man. Because he'll also, you know, in the same breath, he'll both insult and defend women at the same time. It's hilarious because it's like he really is just the ultimate contrarian because he will switch his ideals on a dime just to suit whatever person he's trying to argue with at the time. He'll be a dude bro one minute, and then he'll be like total women's advocate the next. It's just because he knows he knows that his daughter's a feminist, so he intentionally argues with her just because it's what big brain contrarian man does. Oh, it's an incredibly boomer thing to do. The dude's like purebred boomer. I've seen him. I seen him. One of my favorite things he's ever said, because she tells me a lot of stories. So you actually know her. It's Clara, but so she so they're in Germany, as you are aware. And so this dude, oh yeah, he's German boomer. Pretty similar, basically the same. But get this, do you want to hear this? I gotta put the controller down for this one, because I couldn't believe my ears with this story. This man is so based, he is such a legend. Like, I had to make him as a character, because he fascinates me as a human being, this man right here. So he has a little saying, because their name is Krugman, which is smart man, literally in German, and it's a very interesting last name because it's not very common. So people are often shocked when it's actually their last name. And so he'll say, and he's got like a little saying, and it goes like smart like man, something something. But one time when he was at a job interview, he must have said it wrong or something, because what came out was smart like man, dumb like woman, or something like that. And the interviewer for the job he was going after was a woman. Needless to say, he didn't get the job. The man is such a fucking based god. Our mortal plane cannot handle this man. Instead of just saying, yes, that's actually my name, he's got to have his dumb little saying, and then he says it wrong at the worst possible time, and completely fucks up his potential for a job. What an absolute champion. I am, like, I speak no hyperbole. I'm legitimately fascinated by this man. Thing that a normal person would say, yes, my name actually is Smart Man. Things a normal person doesn't say. Smart like man, dumb like woman. Even if it is an accident. What a terrible thing to say. Even if it's completely by accident. Just don't be an idiot. He does not live up to his name sometimes, unfortunately. She'd tell you the story better than I can. I'm only relaying it as I heard it, or as I remember it, even. It's hard for me to relay it as it is, unfortunately. That's the thing, is I'm just the messenger. You can't... Hard for you to get it straight from the source. You'd have to get it straight from the horse's mouth if you want a more concise telling of that saying. The magical phrase he has. Boomers are a fascinating species. Even more so are the 30-year-olds who try to emulate them and drink Monster Zero Ultra to channel their their energy. "30-year-old boomers are a strange and rare subspecies of boomer. Yeah, boomerism is almost... You're right. Boomerism is more a way of life than an age-dependent thing now. There are true boomers who are actually born of that era, and then there's just people who are just boomers by dependent of their personality, their behavior, personality, and you know, whatever else. Their psycho archetype, I guess you could call it. You're more likely to find boomerism in an actual boomer, but that doesn't mean you can't find boomerism in a healthy 30-year-old male who's got a slightly receding hairline and likes to drink Monster Zero Ultra. What a fucking bizarre world we live in. Although I think at a certain age, if you're like a junior boomer, like if you're below the age of 25, you're not a boomer, you're a Kyle instead. If you exhibit signs of boomerism at a younger age, you're not a boomer at that point, you're a Kyle. And any drywall near you better watch the fuck out, because you're about to punch the shit out of it. The bros of the 2000s were the original Kyles. They're not even proto-Kyles, they were just the first wave of Kyles. You remember what they were like. They wore, you know, fucking Browning hats, and they had shitty mismatched camo. Yep, you remember them vividly. And they liked to drive trucks that were way too big for anything they would ever use them for. Yep. Yeah, and then as a Kyle surpasses the age of 21, yeah, or Four Loko, Natty Bo, Four Loko, other really disgusting fucking shit bottom of the barrel stuff that they can just that isn't even that good. They can just they just have it so they can pound that shit and look like a hot-blooded virile male, even though nobody's fucking impressed by that. Yeah. Bro, you gonna take that, bro? Come on, bro. You gotta fight him now, bro. Yeah. But yeah, Kyleism progresses into Boomerism. It's the natural progression. That's how it works. And Kyle's either listen to extremely shitty country, or they listen to Avenged Sevenfold and other prog metal really, really loudly. Or, did I say prog metal? More like speed metal. Exactly, you... shit metal. Hey, I like Avenged Sevenfold. But, you know, it was in Call of Duty Black Ops, so... Of course, all the Kyles are immediately like, bro, it's in Call of Duty, bro. Man, I like Avenged Sevenfold now, bro, because it was in Call of Duty, bro. But yeah, the key component of both Kyleism and Boomerism is being completely fucking oblivious to the world around them. Also, gonna have to be quiet now. This is a fucking intense fight, and it always fucks me up. But I love this fight. Because fighting a fucking level 80 power lich is always great. Okay, so apparently he can plant those right on top of you. That's great. He can plant those floating death orbs right on top of you, and they'll do multiple hits of damage. Good to know. I should have backed off. He had too much hyper armor for that shit. Anyways, yeah, back to talking about Kyles. Kyles and Boomers and where that line is drawn. Well, I mean, you know, they're called Kyles because that's, like, a very common name for them. But they don't just have to have that name. Sometimes they're called Caden. Sometimes they're called, you know, fucking... what's another incredibly, like, white name that you'd hear from the fucking boonies? You know, you got your Cadens and your Alexes and your Kyles and your Jordans. The Jordan with a Y, of course. forget if I'm supposed to hit him out of that or not. Shit. Yeah, get used to this. A lot of the late game fights are gonna fuck me up several times. At least the trip back is mercifully uncombative, save for that one room right there. Damn it. Alright, that move's kind of bullshit. Fortunately, he's been dispatched of. I love that when you change clothing, it changes the blood splatter because the hat's different. I love it. Oh no, this is part of the base game.
I claim no subjects, but here lieth our throne. Kneel before us, or get thee gone. Visitor, moon-scented hunter. I am Annalise, Queen of Castle Canehurst. Ruler of the vile bloods, and sworn enemy of the church. Yet our people are murdered, and we are prisoner to this wretched mask. What is it thou art in search of? Well, an odd hunter thou art indeed. You've tired of these piteous nights. Share in our plight, and take oath against the church. If thou wouldst this path walk, I prithee, partake of my rotted blood. Very well. Drink deep of our blood. Feel spreading corruption burn. Now, thou art too a vile blood. We too, the very last on this earth. We await thy return for the honor of Canehurst.
You do all that so you can get the Canehurst badge, because the Canehurst badge gets you, the Canehurst badge gets you, some of the Canehurst weapons, like the Chikage, if I'm not mistaken. Very fun weapon. Very hard to get your stats for on the first playthrough. It's a better game, or it's a better weapon in NG Plus and beyond. Yep, there it is, the Chikage. Very expensive. So the Chikage is one-handed katana that, when transformed, covers itself in cold blood. It sacrifices 20% of your HP. Or no, that was the blood letter. But yeah, when it transforms, it coats itself in cold blood, which continuously drains your HP, but you get a lot of blood tinge damage. And most enemies in the game are very weak to blood tinge. So you sacrifice you sacrifice health over time to do an insane amount of damage if you spec right for it. But yeah, it transitions from a one-handed katana to a two-handed katana that shoots blood. It's a really cool design when you have the Chikage in a transform state, because it's just like frozen blood on the blade. And when you do really strong swings, it flicks the blood off. It's edgy as fuck, but it's awesome. Very fun. I like it a lot.
Very well. Let the echoes let me. Farewell, good.
I need one more chunk and I can upgrade again. And now I can do a fun little thing where if I go to the Cathedral Ward,
Forgive me, I'm a bit out of sorts. So, no blood today, I'm afraid.
Where's the nun lady I brought back? I did bring her back, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I sent her to the cathedral and not Yosefka's. What the hell? Oh, there she is. Okay.
Welcome home, dear. What's wrong? Anything you'd like to tell me?
I have my share of woes.
This will help you forget. Forget your troubles. Forget your cares.
Some more sedatives. Excellent. So, fun fact, these dudes, you do not want to piss the big ones off, because the one we fought in Nightmare Frontier was a smaller one. There's always a bigger fish. Classic prequel quotes.
Good to see you safe. Now, let's think up something to discuss. Just tell me what piques your interest.
I can give him the unopened Canehurst summons.
Aha! Is that the sigil of Canehurst? I've heard tell of Canehurst nobles and their amusingly pompous invitations. Wonderful. I thank you profusely. I will depart immediately, but first, a token of my gratitude.
The Wheel Hunter badge, and now you can get the church weapons.
I feel my master's hand at work. Praise the good blood, and let us cleanse these tarnished streets. It has been an honor, but I must say goodbye. Let us cleanse these tarnished streets, and may the good blood guide your way.
So now if we go back and we go to Canehurst Castle, oh yeah, so the Wheel Hunter badge gives you some really cool shit. It gives you the Logarius wheel, which is a weapon I haven't used yet, but it is fucking amazing from what I hear. It's basically just a giant... It's just a giant... it's a giant breaking wheel that you just swing as a weapon and bludgeon people with. No, it's a giant breaking wheel that you swing as a weapon, and when you transform it, you unleash the souls of the damned that it has killed. Fucking amazing. Ah, interesting. They probably couldn't keep the project going. No, he fucking smashed her to a tiny pink pulp.
Thanks to you, I've done it.
He's a fucking insane person.
You did wonderful. Now Master can be canonized as a true martyr.
She's immortal, but that doesn't mean she's indestructible.
I have. I've done it.
Yeah, also one of the best one of the best emotes in the game. Also, you said waifu, that immediately invalidates your opinion, you fucking waifu warrior. I love the roar. Do the roar. Queenly flesh. I'll take some of that. Yeah, she's immortal but not indestructible. So she's just in excruciating pain right now.
I've done it.
I just wanted to see Alfred smile. Look at how happy he is. He likes being covered in meat. Look at all that meat he's got on him. Yeah, the dude's pretty fucking nuts, though. But we can use the queenly flesh at a later point. So, Yeah, Everman Hybrid ended New Year's this year? Damn. Never even would have known. I... So did they just not have the money to keep... Or bleh, not the money, but... Did they not have the time to keep the project going? Oh, they just ended it? I mean, of course they'd run their course, but it was just like, you know... Ah, okay, so they just finished it. It just ended. I was worried that they just had to hastily rush out an ending for it because, you know, with ARGs or any long-running series, people, you know, get their own lives, get their own shit they gotta do, so they gotta clean the plate. They gotta, you know, scramble to finish any unfinished projects they had so they can move on with the rest of their life. And I was worried that was the case with that, where they just had to get the shit done so they could get it out and over with. But if they actually, you know, planned it out and finished the last bit of the story, then, you know, cool. I think I plan on checking it out on my own. I don't think you should talk about it just yet. I want to get that experience before I I want to get that experience before I understand it. Which one is the one with Noah? Because that one's probably my favorite of the ARG web series. Tribe 12. I love Tribe 12. The visual editing for those is so amazing. I love Tribe 12. And that's good. Soul Taker 87. I am at the Pale Blood Sky. I am in Pale Blood Yargul now. So pretty late. I'm starting to get chunks now. Oh yeah, Evan's always had some fucking killer grade A acting chops. I always loved Evan's acting. Yeah, I'm at the Pale Blood Sky. I was finishing some other shit, so I was doing Canehurst and Nightmare Frontier before I move on. Once I want to be at plus 10 for when I do the DLC. I want to actually bring my A game. So after I finish. After I destroy the Brain of Mensis and get the Blood Rock from the Brain of Mensis, I will move on to the Old Hunters. Because the Old Hunters is hard as shit. I mean, I've played this game before, but yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time with Ludwig. It doesn't matter how experienced I am at this game. I'm not. I've played this game enough to get platinum on it, so I've got about like 100 and something hours in this game. But Ludwig's probably still gonna eat my ass something fierce. Huh. You and your damn lists. Empire loves their damn lists. I just gotta say that before anybody else beats me to it. Oh, I'm running out of blood vials. Yikes. Ugh, god damn it. Unfortunately, it's, yeah, just about closing time for the stream because I usually do 2 hours and I would go longer, but tomorrow's Monday. I want to get some good rest. You had typed out half of it before I even... Of course. Like I said, I knew you were going to go for it. I knew you were going to go for the easy Skyrim, so I beat you to it. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people showed up late, so you don't get much content, unfortunately. Disaster was the only one who came early and stayed early. It just works. But for anybody interested in coming back for more content, I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, sometimes on weekends. So come back on Tuesday for more Bloodborne. We're gonna go to Yargul and continue with the story. So, for everybody watching, thank you for watching, and for those on Twitch, have a good night, and for those on YouTube, have a good rest of your day. See y'all on Tuesday.